Alright, so this interlude slash solo section in Run in the Rain. This is the opener of the set. It's supposed to be super high energy. You really don't have a ton of time in this solo section. The point I'm trying to make is that when you have a very long solo, you want to make sure that you have room to grow. In this instance, you have a very short solo, and you need to you just don't have the time to start off real light. You can't wait 2 beats to come in, because by that time the solo is like, you don't have enough time to just like sit around. So you really have to play with a lot of energy during this, and you just have to you have to blast it for 8 measures. The backgrounds are designed in a way that you as the player don't really need to worry about building, because the backgrounds, it builds up, drops off to where it's just like bass drum playing on quarter notes. It's the rhythm section playing real light for 4 measures, and then it hits 122, and the rest of the band comes in and it builds to the end. So the dynamics are happening whether you do it or not. So what I really think you need to do is keep it very energetic and exciting all the way through. And again, you don't have a lot of time, so I don't think you'll run out of a ton of ideas. The nice thing about this is that the first 4 measures are all the same chord. So for trombone, you're playing F major, trumpet is G major, and alto sax is D major. You have 4 measures of this one chord. The nice thing about this is that if you are someone who's really nervous about soloing, you can play repetitive licks. So you can play the same riff like 4 times in a row, which is a great way to solo, because not only is it easy for you and kind of gives you less stress when you think, I just have to think of one measure and then I can repeat that measure. That's really great, but it also is good for the audience, because the audience, repetition to them is really helpful. So if you got something like ba da ba 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 da ba da ba 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 da da ba da ba 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 da da ba da ba 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 da da, and then you have 4 measures to do something new. Audience is already kind of locked in. You played a lick that they now like, it's in their head and they're paying attention to you. We're moving into, for trombone, G major, trumpet is A, and alto sax is E major. Now you can go on a different major scale. You can create a little more texture or a little more creativity in that. You can also play the same riff as you did before, up a whole step, if that's something you're comfortable doing. You have that for 2 measures, and then you have 2 measures of a minor chord, which trombone's A minor, trumpet B minor, and alto sax is F sharp minor. I also want to say, you really do not need to play like crazy scales during this. Like the bebop scale is really not something you need to use. Playing like a blues scale during the minor chord is something, again, you don't need to use, because the song is all in major. So if you come in with a really bluesy, jazzy lick, it's going to sound really out of place anyway, and people are just going to, people in the audience are going to feel like thrown off, because it just doesn't match the rest of the song. So really, don't psych yourself out about this solo. It's really not that hard. I mean, you got 4 measures of one chord, 2 measures of another major chord, 2 measures of the minor chord, and that's it. This sheet, at the bottom of the sheet, has kind of just an outline of some of the solo, where you can actually write in like a cheat sheet of, if you want to write in the chord tones, or you want to write in a lick that you really like, that you came up with. Please get the perception of, you need to just improv it and make something up every time out of your mind. Because bands who tour and travel around, they play the same licks every night. They play solos that are very, very similar every night. You don't need to tell yourself that you have to create something new every single time. You can play the same solo over and over. And when you're really, really comfortable with that solo, you can start to variate from that after you've established like you really, really know what you're doing. I hope this is helpful. I have the major scales written out. If you're very new to improv or reading chords, I will tell you, when you look at like for the first scale, so I'm going to do like the trombone scale, which is an F major scale. That's F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. The chord tones in a major chord is the first, the third, and the fifth note of the scale. So that would be F, A, C. Those are the notes you really need to hit in there. If you avoid those notes, it's going to sound like you don't know what you're doing. You can always play the notes in between as passing tones, but those are the notes that are really important. So always just look at the first, the third, and the fifth notes in the scale. Hope that was helpful, and I look forward to hearing you guys play it. Bye.